Welcome to episode 6 of The Sunday Sauce. My name is Tyler Adelle alongside Andrew Mucaria. We are here with This Week in Hockey News.
We are.
Andrew, how you doing today?
I'm pretty good. The work was awful, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm much happier to be here than at work. Sorry for you. But speaking of being here, we couldn't be here with some help, without some help from our friends on the Eastern Observer. We'll start with our friends over at the Primetime Rundown. Join Joey Jarazenka, Ian Schreier, and Rob DeLuca Fridays at 7 p.m. to discuss all sports news throughout the NCAA, MLB, NBA, and more on YouTube. If you can't catch them live, there's always the ability to catch them on demand on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Oh my God, I'm dying over here. We also get a lot of help from our friends over at the Essential Wrestling Podcast. On Tuesdays at 5 p.m., join Al Carl, John Smith, John DeConti, Ryan Joy, and Gary Mahaffey so they can lay the smackdown on all wrestling news from the week. And this Tuesday, be sure to tune in for the recap from this afternoon's Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Catch them live every Tuesday on YouTube, and we don't single out anybody here, so you can catch them on demand on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts as well. The fact that I did a graphic read and said lay the smackdown on something, I should fire myself. And you're muted. See? You hated me too.
That sounds like classic wrestling goodness to me.
Yeah, and I hate myself for doing it because that's probably the most stereotypical cliche lead into a podcast for wrestling.
Vince McMahon approved.
I don't really care what he thinks because he has no idea. So, with all that being said,
what do we got?
We had quite the week.
We did.
In the NHL.
We did.
We could probably start with the most obvious thing to talk about because it's probably going to affect how we're talking in about a month from now.
I hate it.
It was the Montreal trade, which kind of may or may not screw a lot of teams.
It's going to.
Yeah. So earlier this week, Montreal traded Tyler Toffoli to the Calgary Flames in exchange for Tyler Pitlick, Emil Heineman, a 2022 first-round pick, and a 2023 fifth-round pick. So I guess the obvious first question here, overpayment or underpayment?
Oh, I mean, it's over. It's definitely overpayment. Okay. But I also don't think it was it wasn't bad for Calgary to do either. But the issue now is how every other teams are going to value their players against this one. Because Tyler Toffoli is not worth that trade.
No, I don't think he's worth that trade either. I do understand some of the factors into it. I mean, you take a guy who's 29. He's playing now some of the best hockey he's been playing since he was, 23, 24 in LA, winning 2 cups. He's got a very, I think this is, a detail that most people are overlooking. He's got a very cap-friendly contract for what he is.
Well, you said the magic word.
He's making $4.25 for 2 seasons after this one.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like I don't. If you're Calgary and you're gonna keep him around for the remainder of this contract, additionally extending him past this contract, I could see the worth, but like I said, this just sets a tough precedent on the rest of the trade market. Because, we remember, first off, the front office in Buffalo has to be on fire right now, seeing what they got for Jack Eichel and what's about to happen in a month.
Yeah.
What could happen in a month.
Yeah.
Guys like Jacob Chikrin, John Klingberg, Drew, those asking prices just skyrocketed.
Yeah, as if Chitrin's wasn't high enough.
Yeah, they wanted what for him? 2 first-round picks,
and a high-end prospect. Yeah.
Forget it. Honestly, now is probably the time where that trade seems like a realistic trade.
Yeah, honestly.
Or not realistic, but you can make that trade and not feel bad.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that is really going to play out. This just seems like, in my opinion, it seems like it's a Calgary team that knows they're going to lose quite a few people this year. Like, I think it's safe to say, Johnny Gaudreau's not coming back.
I've been saying that for years, and I've been wrong every year. But
well, to be fair, their asking price for him on the trade was ridiculous.
It's astronomical, yeah.
This year he can leave on his terms. Calgary's going to get nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the minor players going, I mean, Andrew Mangiapane is going to arbitration, so he's not going anywhere, but he's going to cap strike the team after the season he's having.
Yep.
I mean, the smaller contracts, Brett Ritchie, Trevor Lewis, Brad Richardson, Nikita Zadorov, Eric Branson, Michael Stone, like, they're gonna shed a decent amount of cap this year without bringing anyone back. Oh, and that's the other one. Matthew Tkachuk, who's currently making $7 million this season, is going to arbitration this year.
Yeah,
that's horrifying if you're the Flames.
Yeah, he's gonna get a nice little pay bump.
Yeah, he's gonna get paid. So just seeing what I'm seeing here as far as contracts, who's coming up on their terms, who's going to be a free agent. To me, it's just like it almost seems like Calgary's treating it as if, this is it. This is it. Like, we got to do it now or we're going right back to a rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, like Sean Monahan, he's got only 1 year left on his contract after this.
Yep.
And like up and down the roster, I mean, Mikhail Backlund, Milan Lucic, like there's nothing to get excited about on this team once Monahan, Gaudreau, and possibly Tkachuk are out of here.
Yeah, it's very true. They're in a very tough spot.
Because, like, I don't know about you, between you and I completely see Matt Tkachuk getting an offer sheet.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And if Calgary, in my opinion, if they're smart and they can't make anything happen this season, or if they have a failed playoff run, you almost consider just letting him go.
Considering the amount of money he's going to get and the amount of nothing you're going to have on your roster, most likely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, statistically, like we were saying, Matthew Tkachuk can, I don't want to say bankrupt the team. That would be extreme, but 47 games played, 23 goals, 31 assists, 54 points, a plus 32. Like, he's going to get paid.
He's going to be a $10 million a year player.
Yeah, he's almost guaranteed he's going to get a $3 million raise off what he's making. And at $7 million, he's already eating almost 9% of their cap. That's quite a bit for one person.
The big munch.
Yeah, like, so between him, Gaudreau, Monahan, they make up 8.6, 8.3, and 7.8% just of that cap. It's insane. But like I said, I think the bigger question here is going to be how bad is this going to hurt the rest of the league? Because this is clearly a seller's market this year.
I'm hoping the buyers won't overpay and they'll force these teams' hand to kind of tone down their expectations, but I doubt it. I don't like it. It's going to be bad. I'm not excited for the trade deadline anymore. I don't want it.
Seeing where certain teams would be standing, I'm not going to mention any names, but a specific team in New York that wears orange and blue, seeing that they're going to most likely be sellers, I'm pretty interested. And
great time for sellers.
That's what I mean. This is going to be a seller's year.
Yeah.
No buyers are really going to benefit from this.
No, it's going to be terrible.
Especially, like, certain guys like Claude Giroux, I know that he's still considered a pretty solid player through the league. I don't see him commanding too much, specifically because of the fact that he's going to be a UFA at the end of the year. Yeah. The only way I see them making a giant push for him is sign and trade.
Mm-hmm.
And even a sign and trade doesn't really overpay a guy.
Usually, yeah.
But, we can get into that a little bit more in a month when we're here live March 21st for the trade deadline.
Oh, yeah, brother.
which we haven't even like really scheduled. I mean, we're
Yeah,
doing
just now we're a month away.
it. I mean, we're
Well,
doing it, but how long you want to do it?
I mean, all day, dude.
Yeah, I'm game for all day.
10 a.m. start because I won't function before that.
There you go. Perfect. So moving forward, something we were talking about last week with Brad Marchand, his suspension was upheld, rightfully so, of course.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about what was said that could have possibly provoked Brad Marchand by Tristan Jarry.
Oh, this cracked me up.
This is the, so when you go to arbitration, obviously it's basically like hockey court, and you make a case and all that fun nonsense. And Brad Marchand was quoted saying that Tristan Jarry, when he does the lean over on the post, he's quoted as saying, and I quote, "How you like that bleeping save," which I think within 10 minutes was already on a t-shirt somewhere.
Yeah, I will buy that t-shirt.
The only reason I know is because it's on its way.
Yes.
Yeah, look, obviously, there's no rhyme or reason behind that, or really too much to get into with that. Obviously, the suspension needed to be upheld. There was no doubt about it. I wouldn't have been surprised if they knocked a game off. I'm glad they didn't. But, I mean, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
It just proves what we all thought, that Brad Marchand is a rat and belongs in the NYC subway.
I will not argue with there. Wednesday night was a long-awaited night for Vegas fans and probably Buffalo fans, just so that they could watch their hearts fall out of their chests. Jack Eichel made his long-awaited Golden Knights debut versus Colorado. They did unfortunately lose the game 2-0. In his debut, Jack Eichel came back with a stat line: 7 minutes, 32 seconds, time on ice. So he finished with a -1, 4 penalty minutes, a shot, a hit, and 42% in the faceoff dot. Last night, Friday, he came back with 16 minutes, 20 seconds, time on ice, an assist, a point, a hit, a block, and 43% in a faceoff dot. Pretty decent stat lines for a guy who just, I don't know, had his neck fused.
Yeah, I nothing to complain about. Like, he's not gonna, snipe top shelf first game. He played a tough game, played a hard game, then came back on Friday, played a really good game, got his first point. Nothing to complain about if you're a Vegas fan.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there are some factors you got to kind of really consider. He only practiced full contact for a week before they threw him back out there. I mean, in my opinion, again, I'm over here on this side of the camera. He's actually playing. I would have to assume that trying to build chemistry with the team, skating contact and no contact is night and day.
Oh yeah.
But for a guy who hasn't played again since about a year ago, maybe more or less, I should say, putting up just over a half hour of ice time, couple points, hits, pretty solid face-off numbers for the first week back. I have nothing to complain about if I was a Vegas fan.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's also a career 44-45% face-off winner. I mean, he's right on par there, and you only think it's going to get better.
Yeah, so I mean, you think about his face-off numbers. He's losing one more face-off than normal, maybe two. Okay,
whatever.
I mean, some of the stats that really stood out to me, and they're not even, I guess, real stats for his player type at least. He's throwing hits and blocking shots.
Yeah, he's not afraid to get physical.
That's what I mean. It's like, it's nice to see that he's like, all right, you know what, whatever, I'll be fine.
I'm here. Let's do it.
Exactly. So I'm glad to see, because I was afraid, honestly, that he was only going to get 8 minutes that night, and they were going to baby him into this. I'm glad he's kind of getting thrown out there a bit. I think the next time we see Eichel play, which I don't believe would be tonight, being Saturday, of course. I think it's actually Monday. No, tomorrow, Sunday the 20th, or tonight, of course.
San Jose.
In San Jose, I have a feeling that could be a pretty decent stat night for him.
I mean, I've bet him scoring both games so far. I'm just going to keep going until it works.
Of course you did.
You know it.
But we don't talk about bets on this place.
Or do we?
For obvious reasons.
Refer to Twitter.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter. You'll figure out what we're talking about. But no, bet talk is actually allowed here. Some teams that may or may not want to look into some trades. One would probably be the Florida Panthers, Nashville Predators. So they're on a 4-game losing streak with their loss to Carolina Friday night. They don't play again until Tuesday, so they do get a nice little break. Should they be concerned? Are they going into a midseason little cool down? Because about a month ago, they were sitting in the 1 to 2 spot in the Central.
Yeah.
They're sitting wild card 1 now, which is obviously not ideal. It's not where you want to be, but it is a playoff spot. Should they be worried?
I would be, especially now Dallas is playing better. They're right behind them, and they have some games in hand on them. The fact that you're giving up, at least in the last 4 games, even though they were, some good offensive teams are giving up 4 and 5 goals a game. When your goaltender is UC Saros, that's a problem.
I disagree.
Really?
I don't think your goaltender being UC Saros is a problem.
No, giving up that. I'm saying their defense is a problem.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. Look, their defense is. It's like an offensive defensive system.
Yeah, like you're giving up. They give up 5 goals to the Jets,
which should be illegal. I think there's room for concern, but I don't think it's as bad as people think it is. Right now, sitting wild card 1, 50 games played, 28, 18, and 4 with 60 points. Above them in Central 3 is St. Louis, 48 games, 28, 14, 6, 62 points. Above them is Minnesota, 46 games played, 30, 13, and 3, 63 points. So factoring in the points, they're right there. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have a ton to worry about. It's those games in hand.
That's the problem, yeah.
That's going to come back and bite them because, yeah, St. Louis has two games in hand on Nashville. Minnesota's got 4 games in hand on both of them, 2 on St. Louis. So if it was me, I wouldn't panic.
No, you're not in a total like DEFCON red alert scenario here.
Yeah, the world's not ending.
You got to be careful because then you flip it to the Pacific Division with the wild card. LA also has a game in hand, which if they win that game, puts them a point behind them. So it's a very tight middle of the pack run in the Western Conference.
Yeah, and wild card 2 is probably the scariest place to be when you're in the West, because wild card 2 is usually, in the last few years, it usually has been renamed Colorado Victim. So that's probably the scariest place you want to be. Like, if I'm Nashville, honestly, I'd rather play Calgary than Colorado.
I would play literally anybody in the league besides Colorado. Except maybe Florida.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if I want to go near Florida. Because I'm pretty sure, yeah, they're second overall. And I still think they're cup or bust this year. Like, this is too good to be true for them.
You're probably not wrong.
Like, if the playoffs started today, you have in the East, Carolina would play Boston, which I think Carolina honestly gets washed in that.
Okay.
I think Boston's way more physical than them, and Carolina won't be able to keep up with the physical game.
Okay.
Pittsburgh and the Rangers. Oh man, that's like a death sentence series for an Islander fan. Florida would play. Oh, I'm sorry. Florida would play Boston.
So Boston's dead.
So, yeah, Boston's screwed. Carolina would play Washington. And I still don't know if I take Carolina in that again because Washington plays a very physical game.
They do, but they look like they've looked recently. I take Carolina in a landslide. They have
Oh, look,
not been
look,
good.
like we said, anything can happen, but
Yeah.
so yeah, again, Pittsburgh and the Rangers. If we could have a double loser, that'd be great. And then Tampa Bay and Toronto, and this might be the first time in my life I'm actually pulling for Toronto in a playoff series.
No, I'm not rooting for Tampa Bay, so
Well, I'm not rooting for Tampa Bay, but I don't want Toronto to win either.
yeah, exactly.
Just we're doing one of those tangent things again.
Has to happen.
That's
Comes
yeah,
with territory.
we have to do it minimum 7 times a show.
Literally.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much to be worried about in Nashville. Plus, it's they're one of those teams where everybody is such a core piece from the last few years. It's like they have a team of core pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, who do you move and who do you bring in? Like, personally, I wouldn't bring Claude Giroux anywhere near that team.
No.
But who knows? People tend to do stupid trades. For example, trading a first, fifth, and 2 prospects for Tyler Toffoli.
That does qualify as stupid.
Thank you. Now, the Oilers, however, since promoting Jay Woodcroft from Bakersfield, have now won 4 of their last 4. They're on a 4-game winning streak.
They're vibing.
Say 4-game winning streak. Since they've promoted Jay Woodcroft, they have a 3-2 win over the Islanders, a 3-0 win over San Jose, a 5-2 win versus LA, and a 7-3 win versus Anaheim. And they're playing Winnipeg tonight, meaning Saturday, 4 p.m. So they're probably going to have a 5-game winning streak.
Most likely.
More than likely.
Yeah.
This is, to me, a little bit of a tricky one. Because you make a coaching change. Obviously, everybody seems to be responding well to it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you make a trade if you're Edmonton? Because, I mean, you have a new coach. You just brought Evander Kane in. But something I was going to get to on a separate topic, but, we'll stack them together. You just lost Jesse Puljujarvi for a month.
Yeah.
So by the time he comes back, figure it's February 19th right now. I mean, you figure a month brings you almost to the deadline.
Yep.
So what do you try to fill that void?
I do. I think this is going to boil down to a very basic prospect here of keep Connor McDavid happy and go for it all. Try to win.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be one of those situations just like that where if he's happy, the rest of the organization is going to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does seem like this time around they're doing everything to avoid a Gretzky repeat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who they would bring in to fill in for Jesse Puljujarvi, but they probably don't need a tremendous replacement.
No.
I would personally, if I'm Edmonton, I want to see their schedule. So tonight they've got Winnipeg, Edmonton. That game's actually starting. They got Minnesota tomorrow, Tampa this week, Tampa Wednesday, Florida Saturday. I would want to see how this week goes before I make a move.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have to rush. They can do it on the
deadline.
Yeah,
like there's no rush. Yeah.
I do want to say, I mean, they put up 7 goals on John Gibson. That's a big
ain't
easy
deal, yeah.
They are responding well to this man.
Again, if they make a trade, who? That's the big thing.
Because they want. Obviously, they're not going for a top end player because they have 5 of them, but they need someone to fill that middle position, and I think they want to package a goaltender.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a look at them on Cap Friendly for a second too.
I have an idea. I'm going to go double check it real quick so you can continue, but I have a possible idea here. But it could be really stupid depending on what Cap Friendly tells me.
Yeah, I'm looking at Cap Friendly too. I'm trying to find.
Hashtag not sponsored, but sponsor us.
Yeah, not sponsored by Cap Friendly, but don't be afraid to sponsor us. There we go. They have no space. Nice.
Good start.
Let's see. And they've got a decent amount of people on long-term IR already. Oscar Clefbaum, Zach Cassian, Josh Archibald, Duncan Keith, Kyle Terrace, Chris Russell, Jesse Puglia. I have a feeling I have an idea of what's going on here.
Yeah.
It almost seems like Edmonton's going to try to Tampa Bay the league. Because they have a lot of people sitting out.
And like we said last week, if it brings attention to it, then do it.
Yeah. I cannot argue that enough. Connor McDavid eats 15% of their cap. That's disgusting.
You're not wrong, but at the same time, it makes sense.
Anyway, I don't know what kind of trade they would make. But
Puljujarvi's a right winger, right?
Right.
Yes, he is. So hear me out.
Okay.
What if you package Marc-Andre Fleury and Dominic Kubalik from the Chicago Blackhawks?
We don't say stupid things on this show.
I don't know, dude. Fleury's going somewhere. He's not finishing the year in Chicago.
The only thing we know is he's not going to Vegas.
Definitely not going to Vegas. Kubalik is an RFA next year.
Could you imagine they sent him right back to Pittsburgh?
No, we don't talk about Pittsburgh. Their band team.
It could work. Because
it doesn't have to be that specifically, but it could happen.
That's what I mean. Edmonton needs that goalie. It could work.
Chicago is going to be a decent seller here. I mean, they got wow, Patrick Kane only has 2 years left. 1 year left.
But here's the thing, though. If you're... I don't know. Because, if I'm Edmonton, I'd want to... You got my brain moving now, and I hate it.
Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm. It's like, now I'm speechless.
My brain's moving because I've been trying to rebuild the Coyotes on NHL. It's not going well.
And it's funny, too, because if you look at the sheet, if you look at a thing, we were actually going to get the Fleury. How about this? Let's think about it till we get there.
Okay.
Because my brain's about to explode.
Fair enough.
Montreal has continued making front office moves this week. They officially named Vinny Lecavalier as a special advisor to the GMs after the rumors last week that they were trying to get a deal done and make it work. It was just made official this week. Obviously, I think it goes without saying this is a pretty good move for Montreal.
Yeah.
Very good. Does it ensure job safety for Marty St. Louis after the season?
No.
Almost definitely.
I don't think so.
I think it does.
Yeah?
I think they're going to try to build a core together, and they know that they can't do that at half a season.
I think he's probably staying, but I don't think it guarantees it.
No, I think that those two are very good friends. They know each other for a long time. They spent 12 years in Tampa together. I personally think it's almost a lock that he'll be here next year.
I do think he will be there next year, yes.
But, look, we could be wrong. Moving into the trade portion of it, Montreal has also stated that they could, quote, deal defenseman Ben Sherratt and Jeff Petrie if the right deal is there.
I don't want Ben Sherratt. The Rangers are linked to Ben Sherratt a lot. I don't want Ben Sherratt. Someone else trade for him, please.
You can take Jeff Petrie.
Worse.
I could see Ben Sherratt going to Nashville.
He's a guy that could go there, yeah.
I could see him going to a couple of teams, honestly, that really need defensive help.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they're going to have a lot of offers on the table, and it's going to work out great for them.
Well, yeah, because they're apparently able to get an entire team's farm system in return. it's so hard to not say too much with the trade deadlines coming, but I want to talk about it so bad.
We got 4 weeks.
I just don't know. I don't think you're going to get much for Petrie. I'm sorry.
Him, no. Unless everything gets super inflated, but I doubt it.
Well, they're the ones who inflated the market, so
yeah, true.
Like I said, I would think Sherrod's best bet would be Nashville. Like I just don't see it going any other direction. I could be wrong. Maybe there's something I'm not seeing.
No, I think that's a good fit.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to predict when there's just. I've been saying it all week. It's been becoming very hard to predict all these trades now without knowing what the market's going to look like.
Yeah.
And it's like it's leaving me here mildly speechless, but I don't know. You know,
the trade market is more volatile than the friggin' stock market.
Yeah,
who knows?
Honestly. So we're at that point with returning to Marc-Andre Fleury. So it's obviously no secret Chicago's going to trade him. But he does want one more season under his belt after this. I can think of 10 teams off the top of my head that need a goalie.
Yeah, no shortage of that, especially in the era of goalie tandems.
I would say Edmonton is a front runner.
Mm-hmm.
I know they said that he won't go to Vegas. I'm still going to say Vegas is a possibility based off the Robin Leonard injury. And personally, by making a statement like that public, it gives you a little bit more leverage against them now.
Yeah. I got one team in my brain. I want to see if you say the same thing. Colorado Avalanche.
I was going to say it. I thought about it last night, and I'm like, Colorado would be disgusting with this man.
That would be, yeah. I mean, they'd be even more deadly than they already are.
I personally, and I know you said we don't talk about them, if he wants to play one more season, how do you not send him to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, you're not wrong. Little homecoming. I guess I'm not against talking about them for that.
Well, it's another one of those things where I know he left he left the organization somewhat fairly unceremoniously.
Yeah, could say that again.
But I don't know. We're like,
it's got to be somewhere that's going to keep him for the next year. Who's going to play him? I really think Colorado. Colorado's my number one spot. You keep him as the second guy? Because both of Colorado's goalies are UFAs at the end of this year.
Yeah, honestly, Colorado or Edmonton. I think those are the two.
Yeah, and if he wants to win, I mean, Pittsburgh's been hot, but I wouldn't. They're not in the upper echelon of hockey teams this year.
Yeah. Let's see. Moving on with more trade news. The Flyers, Captain Claude Giroux, do have intentions to discuss their trade options. Obviously, he's going to become a UFA at the season's end. At the moment, he has a full no movement clause.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this meeting is basically trying to figure out what kind of a no team trade list he's going to be allowed to make.
Yeah.
And I guess a deadline. As in, like, a deadline meaning like you cannot trade me after this date because I'm not moving that late in the season.
Yeah.
There's so many directions we can go with Giroux. because he is a player with his physicality and his play style, along with just being a solid point producer.
Yeah.
He could end up on any playoff team.
He absolutely can. I think my top contender, though, is Minnesota.
I think Minnesota is a good fit for him. I think Minnesota.
Yeah.
You know who I think he would fit in really well on, as crazy as it's going to sound? Carolina.
Yeah.
I think he would fit very well in Carolina. I'd like to see the Rangers take a crack at him.
No.
Florida should not make a single move.
Nope, they shouldn't touch their roster at all.
No. Tampa, it would be such a Tampa thing to do, and it won't surprise me. But they're already in like a cap nightmare to begin with.
Yeah.
Which
Calgary.
Calgary. I'm going to lean towards no. Because the way I see it is trading from a Canadian team to a Canadian team is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty similar to last year, the Laine Dubois trade.
Mm.
He's going to have to sit out for a bit before he's even allowed to play.
Yeah.
Plus, like, if it was me, I wouldn't want to deal with all that Canada stuff this year. So
yeah, it's kind of a mess.
If he gets a 10-team no-trade list,
mm-hmm.
that's almost a guarantee that 70% of his list is just saying, I'm not going to Canada.
So I think he might exclude this team, or the team might not do it, but he could fit in Boston.
He would fit Boston. He would complement
real
that
well.
You know where I think? Well, not where I think. Where I feel I could see him absolutely going, and it won't surprise me in the slightest. Toronto.
Yeah.
Like I know. I just said he won't go to any Canadian teams, but again, Toronto has become the Yankees of the NHL, where they go to try to get every big name possibly available, just to get bounced in the first or second round,
and avoiding their real problem of awful defense.
Awful defense.
You know what's going to fix our defense? Another forward.
Yeah, awful defense, and I hate to say it, subpar goaltending.
Yes, Jack Campbell has come back to earth.
Yeah, that's my thing. He came back
as we all expected.
Well, he didn't come back to earth. He plummeted into the earth.
Yeah, it came like a freaking meteor.
But I like I said, like Toronto, I don't expect much from them this trade deadline, but like the Yankees, you always have to be worried about them calling.
Yeah.
My top hits for Giroux, like I said, would honestly be Carolina, Colorado, and Boston.
I'm sticking with Minnesota.
That's what I meant, Minnesota. What did I say, Colorado?
Yes.
Their states look the same. So, the league news, actually, that portion has pretty much winded down. Not a ton else this week to talk about. A couple of smaller things were announced last night. The rescheduled World Junior Championship is going to be played this August.
Yes.
Which is big for guys like kind of Bedard and the future of the NHL. I'm glad for them, honestly, because that was a shame to see it get canceled.
It's so much fun to watch.
We like milestones.
We do like milestones.
And a certain somebody in black and gold this week had a milestone.
Yeah, we don't speak his name. It's kind of like Lord Voldemort.
Yeah. Look, Sidney Crosby scored his 500th goal this week, fittingly enough against the Flyers. On a personal level, congrats to him.
Yep.
As long as the Penguins lost that game.
Yes.
Which I don't think they did.
I don't think they did. They definitely did not.
Other milestones around the league at the moment. Corey Perry sitting at 399 goals.
Corey Perry.
Zach Parise, Phil Kessel sitting at 397.
3 away.
Tyler Seguin sitting at 297. Jonathan Quick is sitting at 349 wins. Braden Holtby is sitting at 298 wins. And Craig Anderson is sitting at 297 wins. The only reason I brought those up is because every single one of them plays tonight.
Do they?
Yeah. Tonight could be a pretty interesting night. So Corey Perry he's still in Montreal, right? No, he went to Tampa.
No.
Did he not?
I just watched him the other night. What team was he on?
I'm looking right
He's
now.
Tampa,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Tampa. Yeah. Okay, so he's the only one not playing tonight. Buffalo's playing tonight.
Yep, they played already.
Dallas is playing tonight. This is tomorrow's schedule.
Jesus Christ. I'll say Buffalo played today and lost to Colorado, but we're the future.
Listen, I woke up an hour ago. I want to hear it.
You go home from work an hour ahead.
How about this? By this time next week, maybe.
Yes, I get it.
God.
Right.
Okay, so for the lack of Ranger news, I'm sorry, I got to take this thing off. I've been trying to ignore it all show because I thought it was funny. I got to take it off for a bit. Oh, my God.
Oh, baby.
Oh.
I think that's a bit tight, dude.
It's so itchy because it's never been cleaned.
No comment.
Well, the helmet's only a couple months old, but oh, God. I can breathe.
I mean, something else would have been a little more uncomfortable if it would have happened. But,
Again, follow us on Twitter for the context. For the lack of Ranger news in the last few weeks, I'll let you start off this week's Ranger news.
Two real sweaty games, and our offense is kind of non-existent. But Igor Shesterkin is from a different planet. Dead. You can't convince me he's a human being. Absolutely. The game against Boston should have been a shutout. That he missed that one save by a couple millimeters. And then the NHL trying to hit the screw the Rangers button and making him get a concussion check with 40 seconds left in overtime, a full 2 minutes after the actual hit happened, and he made some pretty nut saves in between that. So I think it's pretty obvious he didn't have a concussion. I was watching NHL Network, and they were talking about that, and I don't remember who the reporter was that was talking about it, and he was saying how he likes it that the league is watching for that and being so protective so vigilant to do things like that, and they all love it. And of course they're going to say that because they work for the NHL. I don't think that's a good thing. I think that stuff should be left to the trainer who is in the building with the player. Because anyone who watches the Rangers, they called it down because they zoomed in on Shesterkin's face, and he's blinking his eyes like crazy. He's looking all around, and he just does that. That's the thing he does every game, all the time. And the NHL comes down and pulls him with 40 seconds left in overtime in a game that he's single-handedly winning. I think that should be completely left up to the team trainer, especially when you talk about the Rangers trainer and Jim Ramsey, who's considered the best in the NHL. He knows what he's doing. Let him check out Igor and be done with it.
So I did catch the clip later on that night. Obviously, I don't watch Ranger games ever, really, so not even live. I tend to agree a little bit. Something like that should be in the trainer's hands. And, I know the league has tried to fight that before, saying, oh, well, the trainers aren't properly trained for it. Well, then train them.
Yeah.
Like, they're in the building already. They're about 60 feet away from him on the bench.
What's the point of overriding them? Like, what's the point of having them there? We're just going to override them. And they're the ones that are going to conduct the test anyway.
Yeah, so I don't understand what the problem is. To pull him off the ice like that, like, don't get me wrong. If it was legitimate and there was legitimate concussion concern, I back
100%. Yeah, 100%.
I just don't understand why they felt in that time it was necessary. Because I didn't think he was even showing concussion signs.
No, he's standing there blinking.
He was hit. I got that, but he didn't stay down very long.
And a big issue is that it was a minute and a half of game time after he got hit.
That's if you were that concerned, you should have blown the play dead.
Yeah,
you should have blown the horn, blown the play dead, and got him off then.
And then he makes it back for the shootout because obviously he was fine. And the refs, it looked like the league called the refs again and was giving Jim Ramsey a hard time about it. Like, why do you think the Rangers are going to put their stud, their future, their insane goaltender, his career on the line in a game in February versus the Boston Bruins?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, it wouldn't have made any sense for him to do that, but he's obviously fine. And I'm glad he's fine, too, because I don't like the injuries. But
no, injuries are never good. Fun times. And then, so that happened. We won. Keandre Miller's nuts. Great shootout. That was an excellent shootout. Then you fast forward to the game against Detroit, and it was kind of like the same exact thing was happening. Just kind of sluggish game. Igor standing on his head again. And they lose in the shootout this time because it's a shootout and who knows what's going to happen. That game, Dylan Larkin is nuts.
Yeah,
he is so good. That pass that Igor made in overtime to Artemi Panarin, he threw a touchdown looking like Eli Manning. And Dylan Larkin's back check catching Panarin was just that spoke so much about Dylan Larkin's game. I mean, again, it was a fun game to watch, but the slow starts need to stop. The Rangers are so bad in the first period, and it kills them.
Yeah, those slow first period starts, obviously, for every team is hard, but it seems as if the Rangers are a team that can usually climb out of it better than most.
Yeah, we're tied for first in the most comeback games, I think, and we're such a good third period team, but it wouldn't have to be if we could maybe score first occasionally.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can relate, and I'm going to get to that in a minute.
And I would like Artemi Panarin to shoot the puck.
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
So we'll get to the upcoming schedules in a minute because obviously we like to predict our weeks, which we both went 1-1 by the way.
Yep.
Which I'll take.
Yeah, fine.
I'll take a 1-1. 2-0.
That's a push.
2-0 would have been nicer, especially because I need all the help I can get over here.
Yeah.
So the Islanders had an Islander week. The best way I could possibly say it. Tuesday night, February 15th, playing Buffalo in Buffalo. We obviously all thought it was going to be a shoe-in game. Oh, boy, were we wrong. Buffalo opened the scoring. It didn't take too long for Palmieri to answer. Ties the game at 1. Quickly into the second period, Buffalo takes the lead back. Islanders retie the game again. Again, third period, Buffalo goes up 3-2. Does not take too long for the Islanders to respond to that. And then it was just Buffalo all the way for the second half of the third period. End up losing 6-3. Sorokin didn't look bad. It was just a lot of things that shouldn't be beating him that were. That's not what I should say. A lot of play that's out of his control.
Yeah.
A couple of passes were tipped. He was totally screened by his own defense on a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame him a ton for this game. Plus, he hasn't had, he's only had to play more than 5 or 6 games in a stretch one other time.
Yeah.
So, I understand he's still adjusting. You can't bring somebody over into the league in their second season and immediately think that they're going to be like a 50, 60 game goalie. It just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. It was nice to see that Kyle Palmieri still has a pulse. Obviously his first 2-goal game of the season and his second and third goals of the year, which is depressing to say out loud.
Yes, a bit.
But all in all, Tuesday night was a very terrible effort. And did they turn that around on Thursday with Boston? They played like it was the last day of the season, and they were all going to be executed if they lost.
I can't believe they won that game.
They played I don't know if you watched the game or watched highlights.
I was keeping up with it, but I wasn't watching it.
they played legitimate like playoff caliber hockey that night. Like they played like their backs were against the wall.
It's about time.
The power play has been one of the only bright spots to speak about for the Islanders recently. It seems as if they have about 2 power play goals every 3 to 4 games now, which is a pretty solid ratio. 2 goals in 4 games is still a 50% success rate, so I'll take it.
Yep.
Dobson just doesn't seem like he's not on the score sheet anymore, and I love it. Barzal, again, obviously makes it a 3-1 game, doing exactly what he should be doing.
Yep.
Interesting enough stat. This was, up until tonight, because they officially don't play till tomorrow. This was Chara's first 2-point week all season.
Wow.
He had assists in back-to-back games. Empty netter for Chara. Empty netter for Nelson. Chara is still looking for his first of the year, however, which doesn't even sound like a real sentence.
Yeah.
Sorokin looked so much better this time around.
When he looks good, he looks real good. When he doesn't look good, he does not look good.
Yeah, he's one of those hit or misses. Like when he looks good, you should be worried. When he looks bad, you're going to score 9 goals.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things about this game was a pregame comment from Barry Trotz regarding Kiefer Bellows, who is almost part of the Bridgeport Plague. For those who don't know what the Bridgeport Plague is, usually when you're on the Islanders and you're sent to Bridgeport, you go to Bridgeport to die and you're never heard of again. He made a comment regarding Kiefer Bellows because he was being reinserted to the lineup for this game. I think Bellows is ready to come on to the roster full time. I'm not going to paraphrase a tweet that I had put out about that tonight, but you don't say?
Yeah. He's
been ready for like a year or 2. This is overdue. And in that game, he had a primary assist, 3 shots, 2 block shots, and 6 hits.
That's a complete game.
That's a pretty solid game. It makes you think. Obviously, if he wants him playing full time from here out, someone's got to go.
Yes.
I know the front runner, based off of social media because of rumors and whatnot, the front runner to go is Cal Clutterbuck.
Whatever.
I'm not gonna say I don't care because I do like him. He's been here a while, but trading him to put in Bellows and not get that top 6 goal scorer that the Islanders desperately have needed for the last 30 years doesn't do anything for me. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Cal Clutterbuck is going to command that, but that's what we need, and him alone is not going to get it.
It's turnover that has to happen.
And I guess on one hand, it's one of those trades like at this point in the year where the playoffs are I still have a hard time saying that they're a lost cause. Because look, the wild card is not as far out as it seems.
No, you guys aren't dead.
Sitting in the first 2 wild card spots, the Islanders are only sitting in the 5th spot. They've got a shot. Do I think at this point? I mean, look, they've got 7 points to catch up to Columbus, 10 points to catch up to Detroit, and 14 points to catch up to Boston. But they still have a ton of games in hand. As far as the wild card race, I mean, Detroit has 51 games played. The Islanders are still at 44.
It's crazy.
Yeah, like there is chance. There is a chance, rather. They can do it. So I'm not willing to say yet that it's over. But in like the 80% likelihood it's over, I don't exactly know if I would make a trade that drastic at this point in the season. I would let free agency play itself out so Lou can Lou can go sign nobody again.
Yeah, literally.
I mean, like I've said before, I want Johnny Gaudreau here, but I don't. I just think him and Barzal are too similar. I don't think they would get along too well on a line together. That's where it gets weird for me.
I think we kind of mentioned this though. Like the Islanders don't have to do anything because I think I said this that it might just be a throwaway season. They're not a bad team. You had a rough start. You've been playing a lot better. I feel like you can come back with a pretty similar team next year and do better, especially considering you're going to have some money freed up when Clutterbuck leaves.
You get about $4 million back, yeah,
which is enough to get. Well, we don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah,
what you can get with that.
I mean,
I wouldn't do anything drastic if I was them, no matter what.
They're sitting in the bottom 10 of the league. You have potential to crawl out of that hole a little bit. But I mean, I'm with you at this point. I would throw away the season, get a lottery pick, and even if you don't want the pick,
trade it. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like because if the Islanders ended up with a top 10 pick,
that's huge.
Someone's gonna want it.
Oh yeah, and like if you come back next year with almost the same team, and then you're bad again, then okay, we'll talk. But don't freak out over one season.
But we'll all see how that plays out. But I think, that comment by Trotz really, really just annoys me because it's like we've all known he's been ready to play full time for a while.
Yeah.
Well, because he plays 2 games, has a goal and an assist, a goal and 2 assists, and then they sit him for 2 months.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
And then he comes back with 2-goal game. It's like this kid has been ready. I don't know what you're waiting for.
Dude, if you have too much fun, you get sat.
Yeah. God forbid you try the Michigan, right?
No, God.
Okay. Schedules. This week, pretty solid week for you. You've got Ottawa Sunday in Ottawa. You got Washington coming to the Garden Thursday. You're going to Pittsburgh Saturday.
That is a 2-in-1 week. That is a win in Ottawa, a win at home against Washington, and then unfortunately a loss in Pittsburgh. Because the Rangers are nasty at home. Honestly, the Rangers play Pittsburgh and Washington very well in their history, but I'll give Pittsburgh the win at home, especially with the Rangers' anemic offense. I'm like low-key afraid of Ottawa because Ottawa some days looks nasty for some reason, but I'm going 2-1.
I'm going to give you 3-0.
Wow.
Because I think you're going to get Shesterkin all week.
Well, yes.
Because there is absolutely no reason to give Shesterkin to Vancouver.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And with that back-to-back, I say 3-0. If you want to talk about the week after, the week after you got Vancouver, St. Louis, and the Devils. I'd probably give you 2-1 that week, but we'll talk about that in 2 weeks or in a week from today.
St. Louis just lost to Montreal.
Did they? Oh. I don't like you.
Also, I did want to bring this up. I'm formally apologizing for any slander towards Thatcher Demko I've ever said because I've been watching some Vancouver games and he's looked kind of good. I like him. All-Star game, I still stand by what we said, but
never heard of it. I'm going to give you 3-0 this week. The Islanders I can't be as friendly with.
Yeah.
We got Montreal tomorrow, or Sunday. Seattle Tuesday in Seattle. San Jose Thursday in San Jose. And the Kings Saturday in LA.
You got a nice little West Coast run coming up.
And then Anaheim that Sunday.
Ow.
I'm going 2-2. I think you need the win versus Montreal.
You have to win that game.
Forget about Montreal being bad. Forget about them being the worst team in the league. You need to start. You need to go. You need to leave for that road trip with a win.
Yeah.
I I think. I think we're gonna lose to Seattle again.
Ooh.
Lose to San Jose. And beat LA.
Well, beat LA, huh?
Statistically speaking, for some reason, the Islanders have always played LA well. Like,
okay,
I'll give you a little fun fact because I actually did a little research on that before. The 2 seasons in 2012 and 2014 when the Kings won the Cup, Islanders shut them out for both games, both seasons.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what it is. They play the Kings very well. It drives me crazy, but whatever. On that note, this is going to be a very quick show.
I mean, it was very. We didn't take a lot of discussion on a lot of that league stuff.
I mean, there wasn't really much to discuss. It's hard to tell until there's some kind of foundation on this damn trade market.
Listen. We're that was aggressive. We're like a slingshot. This is the pullback, and then once the trade deadlines come close.
So, yeah, I mean, until we know what's going on, it's going to be hard to talk about it because I need a big trade this week. I need to know what the market is so we don't sound like baboons over here.
We're gonna sound like baboons no matter what.
I told you I got a 3D printer.
Yeah.
I've been printing absolute nonsense for the last week.
I'm excited.
You ever play the Batman games?
I know of them.
Printed the Batarang.
That's fantastic.
I'm having way too much fun with this thing, man.
Clearly. Nice.
Yeah. Probably just broke it, but
you can just print another one.
All right. Can you think of anything?
That's a loaded question there, brother.
I know.
What else happened? You see Trevor Zegras score up the back of the goalie's head?
I did see that. I saw a couple people do that this week, actually.
Love Trevor Zegras.
You know, I feel like this is one of those situations where less is more. And also because the league gave us almost nothing to work with this week.
Well, I mean, it's the same teams playing just to make up games, so we're not back on a full schedule yet.
Yeah, I mean...
Just getting back into it now.
These weeks are going to be tough, but we'll be all right.
We'll be fine.
But we do thank everybody who stuck around. If you did stick around, we're sorry you had to sit through this.
Nonsense.
Yeah, no, we love you for being here. My name is Tyler Adelle. Every week I'm going to do it.
Pretend it's a K.
Andrew Mucaria.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the Sunday Sauce, and we will see you in a week from today.